Oh, yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie Motherfucking Boyd. And on today's episode of the Ambitchious Podcast, I have a real juicy topic that I think are going to make your fannies tingle, and that is how to be an unbothered bitch. And most people don't even know what the hell that means, and I am going to set it straight because one of my core desired feelings is to be unbothered. And a lot of people look at me when I say that and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm telling you, when you show up in the world as an unbothered woman, it changes the freaking game. So we are going to get right into it today. I think this topic is going to get your wheels turning. I think it's going to educate you. It's going to empower you. It's going to inspire you, motivate you to be an unbothered woman in this day and age, because it's the only way to be. And it's going to create joy and peace for you. I pinky swear promise. So let's get into this podcast. Okay, so the first way for you to be unbothered and to live a life of peace and joy and all of your core desired feelings and be healthy and be wealthy and be rich and have control and be the HBIC, the head bitch in control of your most ambitious life, is number one, stop fucking taking advice from people who you wouldn't trade your life with. Now, am I telling you that this is a wife swap moment? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is a lot of y'all are being raggedy ass hoes and you are taking advice from people who could not shine your motherfucking Manolos. Okay? I cannot tell you how many drifters give me unsolicited advice that have never done a 10th or accomplished a 10th of what I have fucking accomplished in my life. Okay? So you have to look at the source of where the advice is coming from. That's number one. And then number two, you have to say to yourself, is this advice solicited? Did I ask for this advice? Because most likely you didn't. Because the people who feel like they can give you advice have no motherfucking business giving you advice in the first place. So that is number one. Think about that. Think about the people that are giving you advice, especially if it's unsolicited. And ask yourself, would I trade my life with this person? And I always tell people, the people that you work with as coaches, the people who you listen to their podcasts, the people who you follow on social media or you watch their YouTube videos or you work with one-on-one or in a group setting, they should have aspirational lives. And they should also have the lives that you know that you could have if only you make like a couple little tweaks. That is why I'm so forefront with my past life, because I deeply desire women to be like, if Katie Boyd can do all that she's done and more, I can do it too. I recently started doing some one-on-one coaching with a woman who I absolutely adore. And she said the reason why she hired me is because she loved how I talked about all like the nitty gritty shit that I used to do before I became who I am today. I mean, I used to work at strip clubs. I've done crazy shit for money. I'm not even going to get into that because I don't want to horrify everybody today. I have been homeless. I have been in abusive relationships. I have gained 60 pounds. I have got into fist fights on the streets. I have done it all. Okay. I should probably not be who I am today, but I am, because there's just this sick fucking sociopathic part of me that's just like, come hell or high water, I'm going to have the life that I desire and I deserve. And I'm going to curate it and I'm going to create it and I'm not going to give up. No matter what the fuck happens, I'm not going to give up. And that is why I tell people like the real truth about my past life. And I also talk, especially on my Ambitchious app, I talk about the things that I struggle with today. I think the best leaders in the world talk about real talk. They talk real shit. They're not trying to be perfection. They're not trying to paint this like bullshit artist picture. They're really just coming with the truth. But I also desire for you to look at my life and be like, wow, I can have that because Katie's already showed me that it's possible. So think about who you're taking advice from. Would you trade a day in the life with them? And if not, don't fucking listen to their pie holes give you unsolicited advice. Okay? It's not a good look. The next thing, this is so important. And I have been in the coaching industry for 20 plus years. I have coached tens of thousands of women. And this is the one thing that I feel like really fucks people over. And that is, don't allow yourself to get caught up in other people's drama. Last week, I was thinking, wow, my life is like pretty perfect, right? Like I'm healthy, I'm joyful, I'm happy, I'm surrounded by really supportive, loving, kind people. I have peer groups. I have people who really want to see me succeed. I have an amazing relationship with my husband. I have an awesome family. My business is a multi-seven-figure business. And I have what I like to call the trifecta of freedoms, which is financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom. And I was like, damn, girl, you're doing pretty fucking good. You're doing pretty fucking good. And then I started thinking about how I really don't have any real problems. I'm like, yeah, we all struggle with things. We all get annoyed by things. We all get overwhelmed. Some of us can be prone, I am, to anxiety and depression, but obviously I have my spiritual tools and I have my energy tools that help me immensely with that. But I noticed that none of my problems are really my own. All of the things that I kibitz about and I get overwhelmed by and I get angered by and I get triggered by have nothing to do with me. It's all other people's bullshit. So if you really truly want to be ambitious and you desire deeply to be unbothered, which I think is the epitome of being ambitious, don't allow yourself to get caught up in other people's drama. Like, it is not your problem. Like, save the drama for your mama. If you have an issue, here's a motherfucking tissue. But when you see that drama bull running down the fucking streets, get out of the fucking way and know that it has nothing to do with you. Even if you have to, repeat a mantra in your head, like every time people bring me drama, I say, like, not my circus, not my monkeys. It's like an old Polish proverb. Really, guys, like most of you here don't have real problems. The problems that you have are make-believe, and they're brought on by other people who are bringing you their drama because you're probably an empath. You're probably a super loving, kind person, and they trust you. No. Unless you're a psychotherapist and they're paying you a lot of money to listen to their problems, like, it's got to stop because it's actually distracting you from greatness. It's keeping you from greatness. The next thing, this is so fucking hard. And I think, again, like I said, I've been in this industry for over 20 years. It's a reoccurring theme that I hear all the time. And it's all about how people expect themselves from other people. And if you expect how you show up and your heart and your mind and your loving, kind nature and your help and your support from other people, you are going to be a sad, broke down, crumpled mess of a bitch. And no one likes a sad, broken down, crumpled mess of a bitch, okay? She's just not fun. She's just not fun to hang out with, okay? So we have to really be unbothered. We have to lower our expectations of other people. And one of my clients, who is just an incredible woman, she is on my Ambitchious app. And we were having a conversation about this the other day because I do live coaching on my Ambitchious app every day. And she was like, yes, but can I pontificate on what you're saying? And I was like, absolutely. She goes, lower your expectations of other people, but keep your standards high. Because that's what happens. We get so upset with how other people are showing up that then we just throw in the towel and we're like, what if they don't fucking care? And if they don't want to do this and they don't want to act like this, then I'm going to match their energy. And matching people's energy that are not ambitious women, that are not the HBICs of their life, is going to put you in a very bad position and predicament in your life. You're going to lose hope. You're going to lose gumption. You're not going to feel in control of your life. You're not going to feel determined, or you're always going to feel distracted and disheveled and out of control and burnt out. I promise you. So lower your expectations of other people, but keep your standards high for yourself, and you will always come out on top. Because you have to understand, guys, and this is the hardest pill to swallow in the world, especially for women. We think because the way we show up, that everybody else should show up the way that we show up. And guess what? Everyone in this world is living and breathing and just being at their own level of consciousness. And because you're at a higher level of consciousness, you cannot expect that from every person out there. That is why it is so important to find your peer groups and to find the people who are vibing on the same frequency as you. Because if you don't, you are going to be frustrated all the time and you're going to throw in the towel. And then that's when your life starts to crumble. And then you go into that shit pit. And it's really hard sometimes to pull yourself out, as we know, because we've all been there. So lower your expectations of others, but keep your own standards high. And stop expecting you from other people, because if you expect how you show up from other people, you are going to live the most disappointed life that you will ever experience, okay? The next thing, and this is kind of piggybacking on what I just said, but only surround yourself with people who are close to your own vibrational frequency. And people say to me, well, how do I know that they're close to my vibrational frequency? They're interested in the same things that you're interested in. They go to the same retreats. They belong to the same communities. They belong to the same apps. That is why I created my Ambitchious app. That's why I've created my Ambitchious programs like A28P and Ambitchious Academy and my business programs. And that's why I have goddess gatherings and bitchapaloozas and all these things, because in this day and age, it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded, like vibrational frequency type people, because you know how it goes. Like, it's almost like when you try to hang out with people that are just not your vibe, it's like taking a shit and trying to shove the poop back up in your ass. It's going to be a big old mess, if you know what I mean. So I think about sometimes like, my 20-year high school reunion. You go back to your 20th high school reunion and you're like, oh my God, it's going to be so fun. And then you just realize like, oh, this is why I don't talk to half of you people, because you're fucking still doing the same shit that you did 20 years ago. And you don't really have anything to show for it. And you're not being of service, and you're not being of value, and you're not helping change the world, even if it's on a very small scale. You're just drinking and fucking and watching Netflix, which is all fun too. But if that's all you're doing with your life, then you really need to reassess. You're definitely probably not in the category of ambitious. So find the people that are in your same vibrational frequency, and you will be the most unbothered person, because you'll start to realize that, again, to kind of go back to what we were talking about before, it's all about other people's drama. And if you would change your life with them. And I think that really at the end of the day, when you think about the people who you're surrounding yourself with, if they're on your vibrational frequency, they're not going to bring you drama. They're going to be aspirational people in your life. They're going to motivate you. They're going to inspire you. They're going to make you want to be a better person, because like if you show me your core group of friends, I will guess what's in your bank account. I can do that all day long. And like Warren Buffett said, you are the sum total. I think this is what Warren Buffett said. I could be lying right now, but don't quote me. You are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And if you start looking at your circle of friends, most likely, if you're not feeling so ambitious, it's probably because your circle is not a circle, it's a cage, and you need to break free from that energy. So think about what I just said. Think about the people that you're hanging out with. And if you're like, shit, I'm hanging out with a bunch of fucking broke ass hoes, you have to find the right communities that are going to support who you desire to be going forward. And like I said, my community is always open to you. The link is in the show notes to join the app. It's the most incredible community possible. I have worked so hard to not only create community, but create educational, inspirational, transformational, most importantly, transformational tools that if you implement the teachings and the tools in my app, your life is going to be very ambitious. So stop talking to me about how your life sucks when I'm literally putting the tools on a silver platter. You're the one that's choosing not to pick up the proper tools. And that is the Ambitchious app. The next thing to be an unbothered bitch is stop fucking holding grudges. I cannot tell you how many people I talk to that are still talking about something that someone did to them in 1927. Honestly, holding a grudge is such a waste of energy. And it is, like Buddha said, it's like drinking poison, hoping your enemy will die. Like, you're half the people that y'all are mad at, they don't even fucking know that you're mad. They don't even care if they do know. So stop holding grudges. Like, you don't have to go to the person and be like, I forgive you for being a cocksucker. No, you can just forgive them in your heart and move on. And then when people, because this happens, when people bring them up, be like, oh, I don't talk about that person anymore. Like, I release them. I just surrendered to that energy. And I would appreciate if you didn't tell me, what they're doing on social media, or, what's going on with their third divorce, or, their children's buck teeth. I don't care. Okay. So stop fucking holding grudges. The next thing, this is another very hard pill to swallow. No one owes you shit. No one fucking owes you shit. What do I mean by that? I can't tell you, and I have felt like this in the past too, where I watch what all my clients do, and I'm very close to all the women I work with, and I notice that there's like a handful of women that like never post about my podcast. They never talk about what an incredible coach I am and how I helped them go from broke ass hoe to 6 figures a year with their online program, or how I helped them lose 150 pounds. This is all true shit. They don't say shit about me. They don't even talk word of mouth about me. For some reason, some people they just want to keep me as their best kept secret, which is totally fine, bitch. I don't need you to help me. But I'm telling you right now that the people that work with me, they pay me. And they don't owe me to post about me. They don't owe me to bring me more clients. They don't owe me shit. And to kind of move away from a business sense chat into just an everyday life chat, like none of your friends, none of your family members, none of your colleagues, coworkers, etc., they don't owe you anything. I know that you're like, well, I did this for them, and like, why didn't they reciprocate? The universe doesn't work like that. It's a universal law. The law of reciprocation does not say, I did this for you, and now that you're going to do this back for me. Sometimes the person that you helped the most won't ever even thank you, because you have to do things for people that is coming from a place of purity of heart. But if you show up in this way, the universe cannot not give you what you deserve, so that the accolades and the pump ups and the hype girls, they're gonna come from a different place, a place that you may not even think it would come from, if you will. So remember, at the end of the day, if you want to be an unbothered bitch, just know no one owes you motherfucking shit. Okay? They just don't. The next thing is, if you want to be unbothered, you gotta listen to your gut. You have to listen to your intuition. I would say 90% of the women that I coach, the reason why they're in such a bad place in their lives is because they have not been listening to spirit, they have not been trusting their gut, and they have not been trusting their intuition. Like, for example, women meet a guy, and they know this guy is going to be bad for them. They know that they're a bad boy. They know that they're just like fucking 10 other chicks, right? They're being man whores. They know that they're, not going to commit to them. And they know it. They feel it. They see it. They sense it. They taste it. They touch it. All of it. But they still go into the fucking relationship. And then they come to me and they're like, I don't know what happened. And I'm like, you knew that this person wasn't good for you. And you still didn't trust your intuition, you didn't trust your gut, and now you have to pay. Like, what is the old adage? You made your bed and now you have to lay in it, or lie in it, or whatever the fuck it is. That is true. So if you want to be unbothered, as soon as you feel spirit speaking to you, whether it's through your gut, or all the hair on the back of your neck stands up, or you feel nauseous, or you start to feel a certain way about somebody or something, just trust your gut that it's not for you. And I promise you, if you do that, you will be very, very unbothered, which to me is ultimate freedom. The next thing to be an unbothered bitch is humble your motherfucking self, because no one cares that much about you. I know that this podcast is very dark and it's kind of like rude, but I am a dark, rude bitch. I never said I was not, okay? You guys know what you're getting yourself into when you're listening to the Ambitchious Podcast, right? And you're part of the Ambitchious community. We don't do things in our lives that could help elevate ourselves and our families in so many ways, whether it's with joy, with freedom, with financial freedom, with abundance, all these things. But we are so afraid of what other people think about us. And I'm here to tell you that no one really thinks about you that much. They are so wrapped up with their own crappy, shitty motherfucking lives that they're not laying in bed at night and they're stroking their clits and thinking of Katie Boyd. They're just not. Even if there's scandals in Hollywood, and it happens all the time. Within 24 hours, people forgot about what you did and they're on to the next thing, because people don't really care that much. You just think they care because you are the center of your own universe, and that holds people back from being ambitious. The less fucks you give, the more unbothered you are, the more ambitious your life is going to be. Pinky swear. So humble yourself. No one gives that many fucks about you. Let's move on. Let's stop being fearful of doing big things. And let's stop keeping ourselves small by giving a fuck and thinking that everyone cares about every fart we take and every move we make, because they really don't give a fuck. Okay. The next one, stop being a chameleon. Stop being a people pleaser. And when you stop doing that, you will be unbothered. I can't tell you how many people I know that every time they're around a new group of people, they morph themselves and they mold themselves and they homogenize themselves and they chameleon themselves, if you will, into fitting in the group instead of just being who the fuck that they are. Or even worse, you live your life every day to please other people, and the only person that's not being pleased is yourself. How can you be unbothered if you are constantly in a state of people pleasing? And people pleasing, as you know, takes a lot of fucking effort and a lot of energy. And I am not about that life. If I'm not pleased, then no one's going to be pleased, okay? My pleasure is number one in all facets and aspects, of my life. Okay? If Katie ain't happy, no one's going to be happy, child. Okay? So stop people pleasing. Stop trying to fit into spaces that aren't for you. And when you stop doing that and you just really stand in your power and you're just like, this is who I am, take me or leave me, you are going to attract the right people to your life that are going to make your life unbothered and ambitious. Pinky swear promise. Okay? All right. The next thing, if you want to be unbothered, is don't allow piece of shit people to live rent free in your head. Stop being in your feelings about people and their actions and why they did this to me and why they did that to me and why they said this to me and why they said that to me. And then you're mad at them for 25 years. And the problem is people don't even fucking remember what they did to you in the first place. You know how many people that have hurt me to the point of could have put my life in danger. Okay. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm being real deal talk right now. And then they'll see me, 10 years later and they'll be like, hey girl. I'm like, excuse me, bitch, step the fuck back. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you don't fucking remember what you... And then it's like, no, they don't fucking remember because they're motherfucking drifters and they probably have 2 brain cells to rub together. And we're giving all this power away to these people. So we have to reprogram our brain. So every time that you feel something coming in where it's almost like drilling a hole in your head, like burrowing a hole in your head, and that person is literally just eating, shitting, sleeping, farting, fucking in your head rent free, that's a fucking problem because it's taking energy, precious life force energy away from the main thing, which is creating an ambitious life and living in your core desired feelings and being unbothered. So every time you start to let these people creep in, I don't care if you have to say a mantra Or what I do is when someone comes into my head and it's starting to they're starting to take up space, I literally say out loud, erase. Or you can say cancel. And what you're doing is you're just cutting that cord, or you can even do cord cutting. I have a ton of cord cutting meditations on my Ambitchious app. Cord cut them and move the energy quickly, because this kind of energy can set you up for just unnecessary botheredness, if that's even a fucking word. Okay. The next one is, remember that everyone around you is just trying their best. And to kind of piggyback on what I said when we first started the podcast, their best is not your best. So if you're like, well, I do all these things and I try so hard and I give 110% of myself. Well, bitch, they can't do it. They don't have the fucking capacity. So why are you going to give your precious human life force energy away and make yourself in a bothered, flustered state every day of your life when you can just zap that energy, pull that fucking ripcord, and just excommunicate that energy from your life? So just remember, like I said before, everyone's at their own level of consciousness, and, your best is not their best and vice versa, and that's okay. The next one is to set boundaries. The only way that you're really going to live an unbothered life is if you have clear-cut and concise boundaries, right? Everyone's boundaries and the need for boundaries is different in everyone's family, in everyone's businesses, etc. So I can't really get too much into setting boundaries on a whole, but you know that you lack boundaries. You know that the reason that you lack boundaries is because no one ever taught you how to set healthy boundaries. And you know that when you don't have boundaries, that is what makes you very bothered. And when you're bothered, you're definitely not in your power. You're definitely not being the HBIC of your life. And you're definitely not being in control, right? So set up clear-cut, concise boundaries. In the morning, before you have coffee, look at your day and think about all the things that could go wrong and all the things that could happen and all the people that can throw a wrench in your wheel, and start to think okay, if this person does this to me today, this is how I'm going to set the boundary. If this person says that to me today, this is how I'm going to set the boundary. And that is difficult, especially I was never taught how to set healthy boundaries. I don't think most people were taught how to set healthy boundaries. And now what's happening is, as an adult, we're so fucking burnt out. We feel like our life is not our own. We have no control. We're exhausted all the time. We're angry all the time. We're resentful all the time. We're fucking in a constant state of fight or flight that dysregulates your hormones. I'm not going to get into this today. I am going to do it on another podcast when I have my hormone doctor on. But it just creates a shit pit and a downward spiral to hell. So you have to set boundaries. You have to take yourself off of that fucking hamster wheel of people pleasing and allowing people to ride you roughshod and all that good stuff. Okay? And on the same vein with that, the next thing is take your power back. So if you feel like you've been giving your power away to a certain person, a certain thing, a certain experience, you are the only one that can fix that. No one is fucking coming to save you, bitch. No one. No one's waking up and being like, oh, I hope Katie's okay today. I hope she's living her best life. I really should reach out to her and see if I can help her with anything. No, people don't fucking do that. They don't. So no one's coming to save you. You have to take your power back. You have to stand on your own 2 feet, and you have to be the HBIC of your ambitious life, because no one else is going to do it for you. Right? Okay. The next one, you got to up your self-talk game. I coach so many women. Their self-talk is so poor. They say the most horrible things about themselves. The shit that they say about themselves, they would not even fucking utter about their own worst enemies. And the shit that they say about themselves, it makes me want to fucking projectile vomit. Girl, take it fucking easy on yourself. Life is just twists and turns and things flying at you from left and right. It's exhausting. It's overwhelming. It can be sad, it could be anger filled, it could be trauma filled. I mean, listen, not all parts of life are rosy. It's not all like rainbows at the end of the pot of gold with the fucking unicorn, okay? It's not. And I will never say it is. But you can make it more joyful. You can make it more fulfilling if you just really, truly up your self-talk game. So when you start to say rude shit about yourself, like if someone says to you, "Oh, I love your dress, you look so beautiful," and you go, "Oh, like this old thing I bought at the dollar store." Like, shut the fuck up. Just take a fucking compliment. Just say, "Oh, thank you so much, I appreciate it." By the end. Right? And also to your own self. Like when you look in the mirror, stop picking apart all the parts of you that you think aren't perfect and focus on the parts of you that are beautiful and that like honestly, we're all so beautiful. But I know that everyone has insecurities. Even I have fucking insecurities. But I've learned through reprogramming my brain that it ain't gonna be better, child, by fucking calling yourself fat and ugly and saying that your nose is too big and that your lips are too small and that your ass is too dimpled. Like no one gives a fuck. So the next way to be unbothered is to really step up your self-talk game. The next way to be unbothered is to take radical responsibility for everything in your life. Stop blaming other people for where you are in your life. Okay? When we take radical responsibility, it helps us step deeper into our most ambitious power source. Because when you have energy to blame other people or other circumstances or make excuses for where you are and who you are and why you are, how you are, we're giving our power away. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to live and lead an unbothered life if you do that. So let's take, going forward, radical responsibility for where we are with our lives, stop making excuses, and then use the tools that you need to take you to the next level. And if you don't feel equipped for that, ask for help. That's why I'm here. That's why I've created a community. That's why I coach people, because it's like everyone knows what to do. Sometimes they just need someone to hold them accountable and help them with their transformation. So it shortens the duration of how long your transformation takes. So for example, I have my protocol A28P, which is a 28-day program. Women have lost 30, 40 pounds in a month from A28P, and they have not only lost weight, but they have made their hormones heal. They have learned how to meditate and do breath work and yoga, and they have divine connection because they have incredible spiritual practices, and they have gotten a hold of what's important to them in life. And they have done serious deep shadow work. And in 28 days, they're totally fucking different people. So don't tell me that there's nothing out there to help you. There's plenty. There's plenty. But you have to seek the help. So the next one, and we've done a podcast before about this, but I just want to throw this in here because I think it's really important how to be unbothered, is ask yourself, everything you do, is this a hell yes or is this a hell no? There is no fucking maybe. There is no like, I don't know. It's either a hell yes and a hell no, or a hell no. And that goes back to your intuition. You know something's not right for you. You know it's a motherfucking hell no, but you still do it because you're a people pleaser and you feel bad. Do you see how all the shit that I'm talking about is just one big circle jerk and it all aligns itself? So ask yourself, is it a hell yes or is it a hell no? And if it's a maybe, it's definitely a hell no. And if it's a hell no, it means it's a hell no. So listen to your inner guidance, and it's always the first thing that you say. And in Ambitchious, in all my programs, I have you guys make hell yes and hell no's list because you have to know what you stand for or you will fall for anything. Okay? Now, this is the total last one of the Unbothered sequence. And I think this is so important. And I don't think people talk about this enough. And I'm actually going to do a whole separate podcast about it, why you shouldn't tell people your goals, dreams, and aspirations until it's actually done. So I'm going to get into that in another podcast. But the last way to be unbothered is to be private. Be quick to listen and slow to respond. talk less. Okay? So quick to listen, slow to speak, and be careful who you share your big dreams, goals, and aspirations with, because at the end of the day, even the people who love you the most, your evolution, your ascension, your level up, your ambitious life is going to threaten the very life that they live and lead. I promise you. And you know who the worst people out of all of them are? It's your closest friends and family. Because if you change and you level up, it actually makes them feel unsafe. I know this is crazy. This is psychology, but it's a true story. It makes them feel unsafe because they love you for who you are right now. And if you change or you lose the weight or you break the generational curse or you become more spiritual or you streamline your life or you make more money, that threatens your relationship with them because they may feel like, oh, well, I'm not going to be good enough, or I'm not going to be this enough, or I'm not going to be that enough. They want to keep you small, so they will energetically trip you. They will send you negative thoughts, which is a vibrational frequency. They won't support your big dreams, goals, and aspirations. They will talk about you. They will be jealous of you. They will send you that jealous energy. You don't need it. So when you want to be an unbothered woman, which is the ultimate ambitious life, you got to move in silence. Because honestly, 99.9% of the people who you're telling your big dreams, goals, and aspirations to, they can't even fuck themselves out of a wet paper bag. So why are they worthy enough to hear about your big dreams, goals, and aspirations? That's all I have to say about that. So if you found value in this podcast, please share it with as many women in your own lives and your own communities as you possibly can. You know, I love when you tag me on your social media. You guys know that my only social media other than my incredible Ambitchious app is Instagram. And who knows how long that will even last because I'm just not a fan of social media. That's why I created my own social media app. And that app also has all of my education tools, whether it is my 12-week business program, my mentorship program, my 28-day A28P program, my Ambitchious Academy program, and so on and so on. And I do daily live coaching, spiritual coaching, mindset coaching, energy coaching, food coaching, all the aspects of Ambitchious, which is what I like to call the 6 life makers and breakers. So if you're ready to change your life, think about joining the Ambitchious app. The link is in the show notes. So if you're ready to go to that next level, this is all you need. It's $111.11 a month, and I could charge thousands of dollars for this app. That is how incredibly transformational this app is and how meaty and juicy it is, but I don't. So if this is something that you desire, go to the link in the show notes and just click that link, and it will allow you to pay for A28P and the app and all of the goodness that's in there. And then you will be part of our community and all of the perks that it is there. Or just be a mediocre motherfucker. I don't care, but stop complaining about your shitty little bothered life if you don't want to do the things that it takes to go to the next level. Okay? So, in the meantime, don't forget to stay ambitious. Don't be bothered. And I will see you next Tuesday.